Today, we're talking Philadelphia Phillies on our MLB Get Ready episode right after this. My name is Kevin Burrell, and I am the creator of the KL podcast. Today, we are talking about the Philadelphia Phillies. They finished exactly at 500. They were the fourth seeded team. This was a disappointing team, nothing to say the least, from last year. You look at what they did. They brought in Bryce Harper, and they really tried to impress people by changing up the team. And this is a team that really just has to step up their game. But with the additions of Didi Gregorius, Zach Wheeler, and a little bit of bullpen help, this is a team who really is going to take this. They're going to take it to the next level, to me. They have a good chance of doing a lot. So I can't wait to see what they're going to do. Now we're going to start with the pitching rotation. Now, if you guys do not know, it's 4th of July. Happy 4th of July. Cue the American music. But besides that, yes, happy 4th of July. Today is 4th of July. This might come out the 5th. But in this MLB Get Ready episode, we're going to go into depth on each player, on each position, in each pitching, bullpen. We're going to go deep because I want to tell you guys what I think about each single player. And then we're going to talk about some minor leaguers that should be coming up any minute. And my record predictions for next season. 60 games. We'll see. But we're going to start with the pitching rotation. They got their pitching rotation of Aaron Nola, Zach Wheeler, Jake Arrieta, Zach Eflin, Nick Pivetta, Vince Velasquez. Then we have Ranger Suarez and Spencer Howard. Who do I think will be the rotation starters? Of course, opening day pitcher will be Aaron Nola. Then I'm going to say Vince Velasquez. Then Jake Arrieta. Then Zach Wheeler. So that would be Aaron Nola, the first starter. Then we have Jake Arrieta. Then we have Vince Velasquez. Zach Wheeler. And then to finish it off, we'll put in Nick Pivetta. This team was a struggling team with their starting pitchers last year. Aaron Nola did not play to his expectations. And Zach Wheeler was a big addition because he did have a good season with the Mets last season. He had a good record. But when you look at it, Jake Arrieta was a guy who did not impress too much last season either. But he's a guy who will have a bounce-back year. With the Mets last season, Zach Wheeler had a record of 11-8, which is over 500. An ERA of 3.96. Now, it was a little bit higher than last season. A whip of 1.26. And he had 31 games played, which is not bad. So Zach Wheeler is a good player overall. I like how he's gonna. Well, I like what he's gonna bring to this Philadelphia Phillies roster. Nothing to say the least. When you really look at this team, this is a scary team in the NL East. So, and then you also have let's keep going. Zach Wheeler. I already talked about Aaron Nola, guy who did not put up much. Aaron Nola is a guy who was an all-star just a couple years ago, and 2019, not the best record, 12-7, ERA extremely high. It went up to a 3.87. The WHIP went up, games played went up, which is good, of course. So yeah, when you look at it, he did not have a bounce back year, but I expect him this season to really have a big year because he is a player who I really believe in to be the ace of this team, and he is acting like it. He has to play like it. He was given the contract. So, yeah. Then you have Jake Arrieta. Jake Arrieta is a guy who you don't know what to expect from him at this point, but I do like what he did with Chicago. Now he has to transfer that to Philadelphia. In his first year with the Phillies, he had a record of 10-11, and that's not bad, but it's not good either. And then his second season, 8-8, he did not. That was actually better. It was a 500 record, technically. The ERA went up big time. He was at a 3.96 with Philly. Then he goes to 4.64 with him the second year. So I expect him to be decently, like a decent player. Nothing to the max, nothing too good, nothing too bad. Because this is a guy who is getting up there in age. He is he's old. I mean, he's been playing in the MLB for almost 10 years. So, you don't know what to expect from a guy like Jake Arrieta. I do like him though. He's a good player. He should be he should be something bigger in the future for this team. Is he a future pitcher? No, because of his age. He's around the 30s now. So, we'll see what we get from him. Then I said Vince Velasquez. He's this guy who's been there for a long, long time, and I do like what he's done for this team. He's never been a bad pitcher. He's just been a mediocre guy. Nothing bad, nothing good from him. I think he has had his moments. He's a good batter. But now there's the universal DH, so this does hurt the team a lot more. Then we have Nick Pivetta. I did not see much of this guy. I did not hear about him, but he is the higher guy on the depth chart. So then you have another guy like Zach Eflin, who is a good pitcher. So when you look at it, you could say Nola, Arrieta, Wheeler, Velasquez, and then Eflin, actually. So I'm going to keep it like that. I want to change it up and keep it like that. And then you have other guys like Nick Pivetta, Ranger Suarez, and Spencer Howard, who are just going to be there just in case. One of those probably will be part of the taxi squad just in case, of course. Then you have the bullpen. This is a bullpen which is not bad, but it's not good either. Again, it's a middle of the pack bullpen. You have Hector Neris, who's been a great pitcher for them. And then you have Sir Anthony Dominguez, not too bad. Jose Alvarez, Adam Morgan, who's been probably their best one. Victor Arano, Tommy Hunter, Francisco Liriano, Ranger Suarez, Nick Pivetta, Vince Velasquez, Bud Norris, Blake Parker, and Diolis Guerra. So I do like this bullpen. I think they have something to prove. And this is a team in which I expect to 100% go out and compete for the number 1 spot. But I think they will finish third. I think the Mets without Syndergaard will be affected big time by this. But at the same time, you look at the standings. There's a lot of underdog teams here, like the Nationals. You don't know what the Nationals would do. I mean, goddamn, they were trash they were like 11-30. This was bad. That was really bad. But besides the fact, I do like everything they've done. Now we're going to move on to the catchers. They have, of course, the best catcher in the league, JT Realmuto. Nothing much to say there. He had a great season with them. And then you have Andrew Knapp, who is a guy who will be backing him up. JT Realmuto's stats from last year were not bad. 92 runs, 148 hits, 83 RBIs, 41 walks, 123 strikeouts, 25 homers, and 275 batting average. He was actually better than last season for the Marlins. I miss JT Realmuto, but I'm really happy with Jorge Alfaro, so I'm not going to talk about the Marlins. You guys could go link in the description to our last video, which is the Marlins, of course. So, yeah. And then we have our first basemen, Rhys Hoskins, Jay Bruce, Neil Walker, Phil Gosselin. This is actually one of their strong suits here. They have really the good players here from Rhys Hoskins and Neil Walker. I remember Neil Walker last year. I wish I could play some highlights. You know how YouTube is. But besides the point, Neil Walker was a good player. He could be a DH sometimes. Jay Bruce, another guy who was acquired last season from the Mets, if I'm correct. And then you have Rhys Hoskins, who just has blown up to be one heck of a player. And if you look at the stats, he has been really good for the Phillies. Every year getting better and better now. Last season, in 2019, he did have 29 homers, 116 walks, 129 hits, 86 runs. That's really good. And then you look at the season before, 2018, he had an even better season, 34 homers, a lot less strikeouts, 87 walks, 96 hit RBIs, 137. Yes, so this was a down year for him, of course. Maybe injuries held him back, which it doesn't look like it at all because he did play less games in 2018 than 2019. But besides the point, I like what the Phillies have done with Rhys Hoskins and Jay Bruce. Jay Bruce is a guy who fits perfectly with the universal DH because he's a guy who's going to smack homers every day for you, no doubt about it. Jay Bruce last season had a good season. Let's take a look at what he's done in 2019. He was actually on the Mariners. So he did get traded from Seattle. So 2019, he did have 27 runs with the Mariners. 27 runs, 35 hits, 28 RBIs, 16 walks, 53 strikeouts, 14 homers. And then with the Phillies, he did have a little bit less stats, but his average did go up to a 221, which is 12 homers, 29 strikeouts, 3 walks, 31 RBIs, 32 hits, 16 runs, and 145 at-bats. With 51 games played there, he did not play many games when you look at it. He actually played 98 games that whole season because he was not utilized much with Philly. He was a DH when they went over to the American League. But now we have the Universal DH, which is going to benefit him big time for Jay Bruce. No doubt about it to me. It's going to benefit him. Now we're going to move on to the second baseman of the Phillies. You have Scott Kingery, Jean Sequera, Logan Forsythe, Josh Harrison, Neil Walker. Again, Neil Walker is a guy who's going to go out there and be extremely useful. If you saw him last year with the Marlins, he played a lot on Sunday games, because usually Sunday is when they let the players take a break, the infielders, the outfielders, the position players. But when you look at Scott Kingery, great player. Jean Sequera, great player. Logan Forsythe, he is proving himself. Josh Harrison is a guy who has to improve. But when you look at it, Scott Kingery was a good player for the Phillies. 2019, 19 homers, 147 strikeouts, 34 walks, 55 RBIs, 118 hits, 64 runs. And he had 458 at-bats, which is a huge difference from his year in 2018, where he only had 8 homers, 126 strikeouts, a lot less. So yeah, his strikeouts did go up, but he played less games, but he had a better season. So I guess he got a bigger opportunity from this Phillies team. But yeah, and then when you look at it, you have other guys like Jean Sequera. Jean Sequera is a guy who I think had this starting spot a little bit before, but he is a good player. At the end of the day, he's going to be backing up Scott Kingery. He did sign with the Phillies in 2019, so he played 144 games, 12 homers, 7, the strikeouts, 73, walks, 30, RBI, 60. So he had a good season. He split time most likely with Scott Kingery. Now, what do I think? What's the biggest strong suit of this Philadelphia Phillies team? Everyone, please comment down below. Who is your favorite player on this Phillies team? Mine, of course, I have to say Bryce Harper. I love Bryce Harper. But when you still look at it, who is your favorite? What is your favorite strong suit of the team? What do you think? Do you think these guys are underdogs? Do you think these guys have a chance to make it to the playoffs? I personally think the Phillies will try to make it, but with the new divisions, it's going to be extremely difficult to make it to the playoffs. We'll have to see. And then you have Logan Forsythe on the second baseman. He's not a bad player whatsoever. He's actually really good. So we'll see how that works out for him. Then we have Josh Harrison. He has declined as the years go. Same thing with Neil Walker, but Neil Walker has been found to be a lot more useful. We're going to go to third base. Third baseman is Jean Sequera. So most likely when you look at it, it's Scott Kingery at second, Sequera at third. And then you have pretty much the same guys, Forsythe, Harrison, Walker, Kingery. Shortstop, you have Didi Gregorius. That was one heck of an adding there. You just brought in the leader of this team. That is a good move. Didi Gregorius to the Philadelphia Phillies. I love it. I absolutely love the move. And there's no doubt about it. Didi had a great year. And then you have other guys like Jean Sequera, Scott Kingery. But he had a good season with the Yankees last year. We all thought he was going to stay with the Yankees. Goes to the Phillies in 2019. 16 homers, 53 strikeouts, 17 walks, 61 RBIs, 77 hits, 47 runs, 324 at-bats. That was insane. And then when you look at it the year before, 27 homers, a lot more strikeouts, 69 strikeouts, 48 walks, 86 RBIs, 135 hits, 89 runs. That is impressive by a guy of Didi Gregorius' caliber. I love Didi Gregorius. He's going to be one heck of a player for this Phillies team. Then you go Ronald Torres. He's a good player. He should help out. Now we're going to come into the more difficult part. Now this is the thing. These teams have difficult things in their lineups, in their position and in their depth chart. You look at the left fielders they have, right center fielders, and right field, it's difficult to choose who do you think will be on the starting, how many players there are on the field. But left field is a position that is pretty strong for them. You have Andrew McCutchen, Jay Bruce, Roman Quinn, and then Adam Hazley. That is incredible for the Phillies because Andrew McCutchen is a guy who is out there and he is proving himself every day of the week. He is putting up good stats. And then you have a guy like Jay Bruce, who just every day does what he has to do to get to the next level of his game. Jay Bruce is a guy also who just fits perfectly. I've said it many times, but it's true. He fits in perfectly with the universal DH role. Now, when you look at Andrew McCutchen's stats, he did have a good season, but he has been on the decline since he left Pittsburgh. Because he's been on a lot of teams like the Yankees. Let me make the rundown. He's been on the Yankees, the Giants for a year, the Pirates the rest of his career, really. But besides that, the Phillies, he had a decent year, 10 homers, 55 strikeouts. He did not play many games, but 45 runs, 56 hits, 29 RBIs, 43 walks. That was not a bad year for Andrew McCutchen whatsoever. He had 59 played 59 games. Now with the Yankees, he had a horrible year, 5 homers, not much. He did not play much, 25 games. Now he signed with San Francisco. He had a decent year. He is a guy who does not hit for many home runs. The year he hit for the most home runs was in 2012. That was 30 home runs. His average has been there, but he has dropped since he left Pittsburgh. So his lowest average was his 2018 year with the Yankees, in which he got traded. So he did play a lot of games. He played actually 155 games that year because he did get traded mid-year. Not. Am I surprised he left Pittsburgh? No, yeah, a little bit, because he was a guy who people thought would be a franchise player. They thought he'd be there for the rest of his time, rest of his career. But I guess the Giants just was a better fit for him at the time. He thought, at least. Now he's with Philadelphia, which I do like that. He got signed by Philly for a good year deal. But yeah, he's a guy who's going to go out here, and he's going to be a mentor. He's going to be a guy who's going to start, do his thing, and try to get this team wins. Then you have the young man in Roman Quinn. I like Roman Quinn. Good player, knows what he's doing. So, yeah, Roman Quinn's a guy who's young, and we'll see what he does in the future because he is a guy who I think will have a big role in this team. Last year with the Phillies, 4 homers, 34 strikeouts, 12 walks, 11 RBIs, 23 hits, 18 runs, 108 at-bats. It's not bad. Just played 44 games, so that's the issue. But besides that, I do like Roman Quinn as a player. He's been on this team for 3 years. It's time for him to step up, get going, because he has a good future. He has a good future with the team. Now we're going to move on to center fielder Adam Hazley, Roman Quinn, Mike Mac. I really think Roman Quinn's the one taking this spot because he's going to have to move up and start getting more interactive with the team. Then you have right fielder Bryce Harper. There's no other names there. And then we have Roman Quinn and Adam Hazley. Bryce Harper, he was a curse to me in Washington. He leaves the first year. First year he leaves, they win the title. They win the World Series. Now let's see what Bryce Harper did in 2019. He had his average went flying up with the Phillies. 260, 35 homers, 178 strikeouts, 99 walks, 114 RBIs, 149 hits, 98 runs, 573 at-bats. He had a better season. So what the stats are showing, his average went up by 20, by 19 actually. His home runs went up by 1, strikeouts went down, which is good. Walks went down, which is okay. RBIs went up by 14. Hits went up by by a lot actually. He was at 137, 149 now. Runs went down. He was a guy who hits more for home runs, not for runs. He doesn't score much. 573 at bats and games. He went down by 2. He was injured, I think, for 2 games or not played for 2. But besides that, he's a guy who will go out there and he's the star of that team. They paid him for a big boy money. So yeah, now we're gonna move on to the 40-man roster, the coaches. Let's go through the coaches or the 40-man roster. We're gonna go 40-man roster first because then I do have my thing about the coaches. Then you have the pitchers. This is the whole 40-man roster. I'm gonna name each player. I'm not gonna show each picture because it's not easy to find all the pictures when you're editing, and this is another reason that I'm not trying to make these videos too long because the Miami Marlins one took me a long time to upload, and it was because of how long it was. So I'm trying to keep this less than 20 minutes, but we'll see. First, we have Jose Alvarez, Victor Arano, Jake Arrieta, Garrett Clevenger, Austin Davis, Eneo de los Santos, Sir Anthony Dominguez, Zach Eflin, Edgar Garcia, Deolis Guerra, Tommy Hunter, Cole Irvin, Mariano Lovera, Reggie McClain, Anonis Medea, Adam Morgan, Hector Neris, Aaron Nola, Nick Pivetta, David Robertson, Jojo Romero, Christopher Sanchez, Robert Stock, Ranger Suarez, Vince Velasquez, Zach Wheeler. Not bad for the pitching. Then we have catchers. Davey Gurrion, Andrew Knapp, JT Realmuto, infielders. Archimis Gamboa, Didi Gregorius, Reese Hoskins, Scott Kingery, Gene Segura. Then we have outfielders Jay Bruce, Kyle Gardnerlick, Bryce Harper, Adam Hazenly, Andrew McCutchen, Roman Quinn, Nick Williams. That is the whole 40-man roster. Now I want to talk about the coaches. This year the Phillies went out and they got Joe Girardi to be the next general manager. Dave Kapler just wasn't it for this team. I did see how David Kapler's first ever ejection. That was insane. I was really scared when that happened because I was the only Marlins fan in that section of the stadium at Citizens Bank Park. I'll pop up the picture again like I did in my last video. But besides that, Dave Kapler just wasn't the guy. He was not a good manager for this team. He was way too controlling. He was a controlling guy. He took over the game too much. He thought he was doing too much for this team. He thought he was doing exactly right, but besides the point, he was not doing enough for this team. He was not putting this team in a position to win. He thought he had a chance with Bryce Harper this year. I actually thought they were going to be good. But no, that was not the point. And at the end of the day, he did not prove his point to be the manager there. And they bring in a guy like Joe Girardi, who has won Manager of the Year, who has won he's won the World Series many times. If you do not know who Joe Girardi is, he was a catcher for the Cubs. Then he goes over to the starts coaching for the Marlins, gets fired after winning Manager of the Year. That really hurt my heart because my dad told me. But then he goes over to the Yankees, wins the World Series, gets fired a couple of years after because he's not getting the job done, or he had issues with the team, or resigned. Something happened. And then after a couple of years, he comes back and he is on the Phillies now. He's about to make a big impact for this team, no doubt about it. So I do like Joe Girardi's signing. Then we have Robert Thompson, Joe Dillon, Pedro Guerrero, Brian Price, David Lindquist, Paco Figueroa, Dusty Watton, Bob Meacham, Jim Gott, Juan Castro, and then you have all these other guys like Rom Stumpo and Greg Brodzinski. I do like this team a lot. So the last transaction they made was put Tommy Hunter on a 10-day DL. And that's about it. So, what does this team need to get to the next level? To me, they need a actual starter, a strong suit starter. Now, you should be saying, Kevin, who will that strong suit starter be? Now, I mean, there are guys that you could say could still fit into that. Who could that be? Good question. Andrew Cashman would be a good player. That's not a bad player whatsoever. I like Andrew Cashner as a player, but then you have Jason Vargas. I know people do not like Jason Vargas, but when you look at it, he's not a bad pitcher whatsoever. Then you have other guys like Drew Smiley, who was not a bad pitcher for Philadelphia. Bring him back. Then you have other guys like Fernando Rodney, Tyson Ross. Tyson Ross is not a bad guy. Aroldis Vizcaíno, don't know why he hasn't been signed yet. Wade LeBlanc, not a bad pitcher either. So you look at these are guys who Philadelphia could bring in for an impact. And you could even bring another first baseman like Justin Bour. So I like this team in Philadelphia. I think they're in for a huge year. What do you guys think in the comment section? Please tell me. And I'm going to go with a little bit of an upcoming events section that you guys hopefully like. Tell me what you guys think about that, of course. My name is Kevin Barral from the KO Podcast. We are going to be live July 9th with Octavio Sequera and Alfre Alvarez from Con las Bases Llenas. We're talking about MLB agreement, MLB anything. We're talking about NBA, return NBA, the new bubble. And we're talking about the NFL season and what is happening over there. As always, like and subscribe. Share this everywhere. And I'm happy to say that we're officially on Spotify, Google Podcasts, and I will list all the other spots on where we are, because our podcast, these kind of podcasts that are getting recorded off a voice memo, will be posted on Spotify before they're posted on YouTube, for the simple fact it is a lot quicker to do that. And shout out to Anchor again for the podcast on Anchor, because we upload these to Anchor and we get a little quick sponsor from them. So yes, Anchor, thank you for sponsoring the podcast that we're filming today. These are our podcasts, guys, and tomorrow we are talking about the Washington Nationals on our next video. Hopefully, guys, tell me what teams you guys want to talk about. I mean, I did Philadelphia because I know a lot of you guys are from Philadelphia and are Philly fans. So yes, please, again, like and subscribe, turn on post notifications so you know when we are live, because we're going to be live a lot now. So again, yeah, thank you for watching. See you guys all in the next one. Go read our articles. Last one's from Charles Alberto, who is the beat writer for Con las Bases Llenas for the Marlins. You guys should read it. It's in Spanish. And then we have a lot of other in-depth analysis of the Phillies, Marlins, Nationals, and Braves. So go, if this video was not as informative, go to our other video, which is about the which we actually we give you a little sneak peek of a couple years back. And then we bring in the big boy moments and we start talking about the present of that team. And I put my record predictions all there. Now, I haven't been able to talk much record predictions because of the simple fact that you know, I don't know the schedule. So yeah. And breaking news, guys, breaking news for me, for my own channel. We are starting a merch line. We have started the merch line. I will leave the link to the Redbubble in the description. All money will be going to the channel, and we'll be supporting it all the time because we always want to grow. We always want to bring in new things, try out things, buy things that we need for this channel. So yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next one. Peace out.